Alright, hello everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of Indie on the Rocks, where I'm going to do a quick little spotlight on 3 games that recently came out of the Global Game Jam and really piqued my interest, as I've been having a whole lot of fun with them. Now, the first one that's on screen now is Not Everything is Flammable, a game that describes itself as being about anti-consumerism, nihilism, and destroying expensive things. It's a pretty simple concept. Everything in the game that is white is flammable, and you need to get that flame that you currently control by moving left, right, or jumping, or sort of floating downwards, and you've got to get yourself to the next flammable object. Pretty simple, and the score is counted in property damage. It's very fun, very entertaining, and very highly addictive. As it's not as simple as just getting from point A to point B. Different objects burn and move differently. Some objects burn more slowly, some burn more quickly, and every time you jump and move, your flame dies down a little bit more. Not only that, different objects, such as the refrigerator, move very, very slowly and can't jump high, whereas the calendar will float up very, very quickly and then float down very, very slowly. It adds a whole other level of difficulty to it that is just well worth a go. You will not be disappointed playing this game. It is very, very fun. Then game number 2 that we have here is Echo, A Journey Within Without, which is kind of a more abstract and trippy of a game. In this, you are in Echo, an underground world that is just pitch black darkness, and the creatures of Echo have learned to move without sight, basically through, well, echolocation. And you start the game as a very small creature scurrying along the ground, trying to find your way through this world using your echolocation, and trying to find much smaller creatures to eat so that you can grow larger and larger, and one day in the hopes of being large enough to eat the giants themselves. Now, it is a very, very fun game to play, but can be quite difficult, as you can only pulse for so long before you have to sort of rest your echolocation ability, and it gets kind of tense at some points where you're not quite sure where that red creature was that was trying to eat you. You're not sure where he is now, because last time you saw him, well, he was over there. Now, next time you pulse, he could be right in front of your face. And same goes for actually hunting down your food. You have to try and plan where that littler creature is going so that you can get to it before it can run away. Now, there are some issues that are a little screwy with this game, but they don't break the fun, at least for me. And the 2 main issues are that a lot of the creatures seem to congregate in the center, which can make it a little bit screwy for trying to get some food in there. And the second bit is eventually you grow so large that it breaks the game. You basically can't do anything. But nonetheless, without those issues, it's a really, really fun game, and great fun to be scurrying around using echolocation. And last but certainly not least, we have Iron, or perhaps it's pronounced irony, I'm not entirely sure, as it's spelled like iron, but with an E at the end. But as for the game, it is a more traditional overhead adventure game where you make your way from one room of a dungeon into a next, etc., repeat ad nauseum, but it is a procedurally generated dungeons, which is what really grabs my attention on it, because, well, that means it's never really the same game twice, and it lends itself to a lot more replayability. Now, it is very much along the lines of The Binding of Isaac in that, well, it is procedurally generated dungeons, but you're also running from room to room, fighting enemies, and trying to pick up delicious loot that you are then very demoralizingly shown upon your death screen, which is always sad, but hey, you just load up a new dungeon and try again. Now, unlike The Binding of Isaac, this game has a much more of a melee focus, which does lend itself to one big issue in this game, and that you can very easily get swarmed by multiple enemies in it. But besides that small little twinge at my personal likings, I've had a huge amount of fun with this game. I've played it a whole lot because of its procedurally generated nature. It's just fun to keep going back and try and collect more and more loot each time. It really gets to you, and you just want to keep on playing. Every time you die, it's one of those, oh, just one more time sorts of games, and I would definitely suggest it, as I would suggest any of these 3 games, which were once again made during the Global Game Jam, which was recently held between January 24th to 26th. And these are just 3 games out of over 4,000 total entries to that Global Game Jam. So, these are just a small little basically teaser as to what all this jam has to offer. I've personally only played through a couple of dozen, but I am looking forward to trying even more of these games, and I hope that you all check these 3 out, and while you're there, go and check out any of the over 4,000 that are also kicking around. I'm betting you'll find one that you like, and they run the gamut of operating systems, everything from mobile devices to Windows and Linux. Whatever you need, whatever you want, you'll probably find it out of those many thousands of entries. And yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this episode, taking a look at a small selection of these. And like I said, 3 that personally caught my eye and have really held me since I first played them. I keep going back to them. I really enjoy them. I hope you do too. And I, of course, hope that you come back to the next Indie on the Rocks episode, where we'll be looking at more games. Perhaps from the Global Game Jam, perhaps not. I haven't decided yet, but I hope you come back to see. But until then, thank you for watching, my friends, and as always, have a good one.